Hey everybody, I'm Gian and I'm from Merc Productions. Today I'm going to talk to you about the Friends Reunion special available now on HBO Max. If you were born sometime during the 90s, or you were alive at any point in the 90s, you've probably heard of Friends. Actually, let me rephrase that. You have definitely heard of Friends if you have been alive in the past 30 years, period. From 1994 to 2004, the entire world revolved around Friends, and that has barely changed in the years since the finale. We've merely transitioned from watching it every week on TV to watching it on DVD, and now finally watching it on Netflix, or in this case, HBO Max. We simply can't get enough of Friends, and after 16 years of waiting, we finally got the announcement from HBO on February of 2020 that the reunion was confirmed, and I was just ecstatic. I lost my mind. It was amazing news. It was exactly what I was waiting for, until I thought about it. Instead of getting an epilogue to arguably the greatest sitcom ever, we were basically getting a really long interview. The more I read about it, the more it seemed like that's all we were getting. So in this review, I'm going to give a breakdown of what goes on in the reunion special and whether or not you should get an HBO Max subscription just to watch it. I'll be adding timestamps down below so that you can feel free to skip to the ending to figure out if you should get an HBO Max subscription. Now, without further ado, the one where they reunite. The special begins with David Schwimmer going through the set by himself before the rest of the group trickles in, and I have to say, it was just beautiful. I really enjoyed this. It felt like a true reunion between friends, and I just felt like I was one of them. Once the cast of Friends finally get together, they share a few laughs, they share a few tears, sometimes simultaneously, and they trade stories that I really just enjoyed, by the way, before we finally cut to the couch in front of the iconic fountain, and now we get to the interview part with James Corden.
The cast of Friends!
It's worth noting that the director of this special was the director of James Corden's longtime talk show, so that kind of explains the smooth cuts from scene to scene, the flawless choreography of the cameras, and just the effervescent feeling to it. I've always enjoyed James Corden's show, although I know a lot of people did complain about James Corden's influence in this special.
Ross and Rachel on a break.
Yes!
Yes.
Some of my favorite moments from this special include Matt LeBlanc immediately recognizing his identical hand twin, the underrated Thomas Lennon, and the table read for the infamous jellyfish scene. But honestly, everything is secondary to just watching these people interact after so many years of wishing for this. I'm not so trite as to say that it felt like they were just picking up right from where they left off. There are parts in the beginning that it felt rather stilted and a bit awkward even. But as time goes on and you see them interact more and more, they seem to settle back into their old banter, into their old dynamic. And for me, that is a true reflection of how friends, after not seeing each other for so long, when they reunite, there is that level of awkwardness, but for me, it just felt way more real. There are numerous times throughout the entire special that one or two of them wouldn't remember a scene from the show, and then the others would just try to jog their memory about it, and I actually really enjoyed that. All in all, if the entire special was just the old cast gathering around and trading stories and doing table reads of old episodes, I would have been pretty happy. That would have been worth the subscription in and of itself. But it didn't stop there. The one where they asked random people to say something, as if to justify the $2 million or so paid to each cast member. They just had to inflate the running time of the reunion special by introducing talking head interviews with people that just aren't relevant. Aside from an interview with Reese Witherspoon, who actually was in the show and played Rachel's iconic younger sister, Jill, the rest of the interviews just didn't feel natural. I mean, do we really need to know the favorite episode of Malala and her best friend? Do we need to know David Beckham's favorite episode? I know I wasn't losing sleep over that. They also decided to showcase the universal adoration of Friends by interviewing people across the world. I thought this was a really nice touch, and it showed how much Friends has influenced the lives of people around the world in such a positive and great way. But it may have run a bit too long It's still really nice, but it isn't what we paid for. Like if you get this HBO Max subscription just to watch this, I don't think you really want to know why they love Friends so much, because you already love Friends, so why do you need to know their reasons? It might sound a bit cold to say that, but truth be told, I just really wanted to watch Friends. It's almost as if that these interview subjects, these people, were put in a no-win scenario, because either people will be mildly surprised by the celebrity and that will gradually fade into ambivalence, or they'll just feel rather annoyed and feel a bit cheated because they end up spending a ton of time watching people that they didn't pay to watch. The one where they script the interview. Let's be real for a second here. There's no such thing as a candid interview. Every interview that we see on our favorite nighttime talk shows or our daytime talk shows, all of those interviews are scripted in some way, shape, or form. Normally, the agent of the star gives the interviewer a bunch of talking points, and then it's the interviewer's job to disseminate those talking points in a fun and entertaining way. That's why they get paid so much money, because they somehow take like this list of things that they have to ask or that they are allowed to ask, and then they have to say it in an interesting way. So we get that, but is it so much to ask that for this once in a lifetime special, like there are some people who were not even born when the final episode of Friends aired, that are now watching this on HBO Max. Is it so much to ask for them to do questions with new answers maybe? I'm okay with scripted answers. I'm okay with scripted questions. What I'm not okay with is finding out for the 200th time that guess what? David Schwimmer was not a big fan of Marcel the Monkey. And then I have to see everyone like, oh no, but he was great. We've seen this in an interview already. You guys have reacted the same way for over 17 years. You know, you've been reacting like this since 1995. This was actually revealed in 1995. That is a long time to keep harping on about how much of a terror this monkey was. You know, at this point, I'm convinced that this monkey is the reason why the show was only on for 10 years. If it wasn't for Marcel the Monkey, who knows, maybe it'd still be going on today. I don't know, I just feel like instead of doing this interview portion where they ask the same exact questions over and over again, they could have introduced different segments. My sister, for example, suggested that they do more reactions to old episodes, like Ross playing the bagpipes or Ross playing the keyboard. Actually, you know what? Any episode where Ross does something musical, that would be a great episode to react to. I think I would have enjoyed that much more than hearing about Marcel for the gajillionth time, right? I would have vastly preferred more reactions to old episodes than watching an interview where, unfortunately, nothing much was actually said. The one where I conclude this long-winded review. At the end of the day, I still did my best to watch this special as soon as it dropped. I was actually pacing all around my apartment because I was waiting impatiently, might I add, for my roommate to get home and then we could watch it together. Now, funny enough, my other roommate had never even seen a single episode of Friends, but he decided to watch it with us and he enjoyed it, even though he didn't really understand the context of a lot of the references. But he enjoyed it because he saw these people, these friends, and there was just something that clicked with him, even though he didn't understand the history behind their interactions. It just goes to show that the reason why Friends worked wasn't because it had the biggest stars. It wasn't because it was necessarily the most clever of TV shows. No, I think it worked because these people felt like actual friends and you felt like you were right there with them. I certainly did. In my opinion, Friends succeeded because I felt like I was right there with them in Central Perk drinking coffee. And sometimes that's all we want. It's a feeling that many of us just want after a long day of work or school. This special could have been better, but I'm still so glad that they did this because I got to see my first group of friends ever reunite after 17 years of waiting. You know, it's funny because 17 years later, Friends is still making me laugh. The one where I subscribed to HBO Max. To be honest, I would recommend subscribing to HBO Max even if you aren't gonna watch the special. They just have so many great releases coming up. especially for movies. A lot of theatrical releases that we otherwise would have to wait an entire year before we'd see on streaming platforms, we now get to see immediately on streaming platforms instead. So even if you don't want to watch Friends, I still recommend getting HBO Max. However, if you want to get HBO Max just so you could watch this Friends reunion special, I might suggest holding off a week or two before you do that. Because over the next couple of days, just like this review, a lot of footage from the special, the highlights, if you will surface. And in that case, maybe you can just wait to see the highlights and then decide, okay, I want to see the totality of it. I want to see every single scene from the special. And then you can go subscribe to HBO Max. But like I said, if you're gonna subscribe to HBO Max just for this special, might not be that worth it. Might be more worth it to just wait on YouTube and watch reviews like this and subscribe and like and click the notification bell and comment and, you know, share with your friends. I don't know. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. My name is Gian from Merc Productions, and I hope you have a good day.